Welcome back to another episode of my podcast, Talk with Elena. And today with me, I have a special guest, Trami. And Trami is a newly licensed immigration consultant. And I'm super excited to talk to Trami today to really show you and paint you the picture on how first 30 days of running an immigration practice and opening up your own business can look like, because Trami actually opened her business only just over 30 days ago. Hi, Trami. How are you doing today?
Hi, Elena. Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good, good, good. Okay, Tremi. So let's start with a little introduction. So tell us about yourself. When did you get licensed, and like what's your background, so people know a little bit your story?
Yes, my name is Trami, and I am, like Elena said, a newly licensed immigration consultant. And I took my EPE in December and found out that I passed it at the end of January. And then from that point on, it was just hitting the ground running with getting, my head around business and RCIC licensure, all of that stuff. My 9 to 5 is that I'm a full-time legal professor and program coordinator at Conestoga College. And I'm also a mother of two very young toddlers. We're deep in the toddler stage right now, so that adds a little fun twist to everything with running a business and all of this. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
So before we start talking about your business journey, I want to touch a little bit on your work in Conestoga College, because I do think you do such an important work, not only for the college, but also for the community of RCICs. So tell me a little bit about your course and what do you guys do within that course?
Thank you so much, Elena. So, yes, I've been with Conestoga for about 7 years now as a full-time faculty and program coordinator, and I coordinate or oversee two legal programs. The first one is an undergraduate legal assistant program, and the second one is a newer program that we just launched in January. It's a graduate certificate program called Immigration and Refugee Case Management. And that program is near and dear to my heart. We recognize that there was such a need for specialized skills for immigration legal assistants and case managers, not only for RCICs and lawyers, but also for settlement workers and organizations. And so now the program is now being offered to our first cohort, and we have such an amazing group of students who come with such impressive backgrounds that I'm so excited to enter the workforce where they're needed.
Yes, it's as you said, like it's super important to really have legal assistants that are, case processing managers for immigration, educated and trained specifically in immigration sector, right? Because I see it all the time. Like when we open the position for our firm, we have legal assistants in like real estate law firms and other law firms applying. But I'm like, yeah, that's not the same. Like you gotta know the immigration. And it is truly, from employer's point of view, it is truly difficult to find good talent that would be well trained and prepared for this profession. So I know that you guys in Conestoga College offer an internship within the program. So can you a little bit tell me how does it work? Because I already know about it because we've spoken previously, but I truly think that this can be an amazing opportunity for any RCIC who's looking for a legal assistant to hire.
Yes, absolutely. So yes, the internship, the field placement piece was such an intentional part of development for this program, because just being a former legal assistant myself, I think having that experience on the ground, meeting with people from all kinds of backgrounds and vulnerable populations, we needed to incorporate that. So meeting with industry employers from all over and from private and public sectors, they said, we would love to have the students in our offices at least 4 weeks, 160 hours on the ground, where they can learn the work, apply their skills and training from the program, and be able to gain experience, add it to the resume, but also hopefully gain employment after it. So luckily, what we've seen from our other legal program is most of our students are employed from their hosts once they've completed their placement. So that was our intention with this placement. And our students from this cohort are now actively seeking placements as we speak.
And from business point of view, I really truly believe that that makes so much sense, because within 4 weeks, an employer can really understand if that candidate is a good fit for this position. And I always say that ultimately, when you are getting a student to complete an internship in your company, your goal should be hiring that person full time, because otherwise, honestly, it doesn't make any sense, because you would you just need to train that person, and that does take at least 4 weeks to train that person. But within those 4 weeks, you are truly able to understand, if it is a good fit. So the fact that college provides that 4-week internship is such a big bonus for solopreneurs. For most of immigration companies are fairly small. Most of RCICs, at least that I work with, they are like one person business, right? And they're just looking to hire their legal assistants. So yeah, I really think that it's such a great opportunity, but also from a point of view that RCICs would be able to get a little bit of insight from professors on the candidates' recommendations who would be a good fit for this position, for specific skill set that the employer is looking for, right?
Absolutely, Elena. And one thing about from our end as educators and speaking with our students, as we tell them the same thing, employers are seeing this as a 4-week interview.
Yeah.
It is an unpaid placement, but it could lead to a paid full-time position. That is your goal, is to get that employment, and gain those experiences. So that's exactly what we echo to our students. And as you were saying too, employers want to tap into this market, this pool of candidates, the talent that's there, but they also be able to speak with faculty who can speak to those skills firsthand. And I will say, from our standpoint, we give genuine references to our employers. Once we know what they're looking for, if they're a large firm, small firm, are you looking for a junior clerk? Are you looking for somebody who has a little more specialized, experience? A lot of our candidates have so much passion, but also good experiences that are transferable to the employers that we can speak to. So it doesn't feel so blind going into it when you're seeking talent.
Yeah, exactly. So how do someone contact you or the college to
Yes.
inquire about the internship?
Absolutely. So anyone can reach out to me because I oversee the field placement process as well, and I can connect whatever employer that is looking for a placement student to the right resources, and we can get that process set up as soon as possible. So for any employers who are listening who would like to potentially be a host for this cohort, I will say that a lot of our students are slowly becoming spoken for, as they are, again, they have really impressive backgrounds. So we are still looking for some employers in Ontario specifically right now, but in the future, next April, we will be having another cohort that's graduating and we'll be doing placements then. And it is a program that's being offered to students all over Canada. So the intention is to grow this program because the need is honestly everywhere.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And I just want to say that I will leave a LinkedIn link to Trami's profile below the video, so you guys can contact Trami on LinkedIn and inquire about the internship. But Trami, you shared with me a couple of student profiles, and I can say that like they are truly impressive, and I have like fear of missing out, because unfortunately we don't need to hire right now, but I wish
Yes.
we needed to hire, because because it's a good opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, no, of course. And then, like I said, it's not going anywhere. So if you ever need any talent, you know where to find this.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's talk about your business journey. When we met the first time, I think, was it March or beginning of April, I think?
Beginning of April. Yes.
And you told me that you set yourself a date, which was May 1st, to officially open up the doors to your business. And that was when you launched your consultation booking page. So people were able to book consultations with you. So May 1st was like officially that day when you opened the business.
Right.
So I want to dive into a little bit about like what was happening before May 1st. So obviously, you had your license for a couple of months before that. And can you tell me, like, just what was your thought process about opening the business? Like, what your schedule looked like, and why May 1st?
Yes, so great questions. So at the college, my non-teaching period begins in May. So we have May until August to revamp, our curriculum, have meetings with our faculty. So it's a time to really have your vacation, but also go and dive into the curriculum and just revamp things and update it. So I figured, you know what, I have passed my EPE. May 1st is when everything should be up and running. The business is registered. And I'm going to be speaking with Elena, and we're going to figure out a plan, and it's going to happen May 1st, and whatever happens, happens, but we need a plan. So I think my intention when I enrolled at Queen's and decided I'm going to do this thing was that I need to find good mentors in the industry, because that was my full intention with this, is to find people, surround myself with people who have been in the industry for a while, that have good morals, good ethics, have been doing it for the right reasons, and that I can learn from. And I did my homework before May 1st and found you, and have been listening to your podcasts for at least a year while I was on mat leave, while I was studying for the EPE. So that was part of my process, was I needed to learn from those who have been in this for a while. I need to learn about marketing. How do I tap into the markets that I want to tap into? How do I narrow down my niche and my specializations? Because before I became a professor, I was actually working as a legal assistant since 2013 in various settings. So different law firms, sole practitioners, RCICs, immigration lawyers, and just fell in love with the practice and the discipline, and have been so fortunate to work under amazing female entrepreneurs. And I wanted to make sure that I set off on a good note, and hopefully build something similar to these women. So that was my thought process. And luckily I found your container program. So that was what happened before May 1st. And now we're here. So I think, what is it, like 35 days, 36 days now?
Yeah, 36 days. Yeah, June 6th.
Yes.
So did you have any fears or doubts like before May 1st? Like, did you have maybe hesitation or desire to postpone that date?
Oh, no, absolutely. So fears, absolutely. I think I told you that my number one fear at the time was having imposter syndrome. And I remember speaking with you about it, and just knowing, because with your common sense that that happens to a lot of people you look up to in any field, any industry. But it's really hard to put it into practice when you're trying to get over that little mental barrier and say, well, there's a lot of others who have been doing this for much longer than me. They're better. Well, in your mind, you think they're better than me. They have, a more established business, a more established team. And so I thought to myself, well, how will I set myself apart? I'm just starting out now. So that was my fear. And to be honest with you, luckily my stubbornness, and I'm just very career oriented, luckily, to be just, I'm going to stick to May 1st, and we are just going to, like I said, hit the ground running and see what happens. And I'm just going to have to learn from whatever mistakes I will make throughout the process. But my number one thing was recognizing that I had that fear of just like self doubt when you start anything new and starting a new job. I
Yeah.
think that a lot of people feel that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And imposter syndrome, it's not just something that happens to like some people. Honestly, it happens to all of us at any stage of business. It happens to me still every day. And it's just like maybe a little bit duller now than it used to be, when I started my business, right? But it's really the part of anything that you do, especially in business, because that means if you have imposter syndrome, I feel like that also means that you're never staying at the same level, right? Like you always reaching for higher level than where you are right now. And therefore you have these doubts. It's like, oh my gosh, like maybe I'm not good enough to get to that level. But then you get to that level and then you're reaching for even higher level, right? And I think it's just so many people experiencing it, and it's totally normal. But you're right, like the first step is to really just name the feeling and acknowledge it. It really helps when you're like, okay, this is what it is, this is what I'm feeling, and normalize it, right? Like that is totally normal to feel this way. But also I feel like coming up with some tangible techniques to deal with that is important. What do you feel like was the most important technique of like just managing that for the last 30 days?
Honestly, I think having a community around me that I can learn from, like you said, having that growth mindset, knowing that, I'm starting from ground zero right now. There's only one way and it's up, and I'm going to have to put in the work. I'm going to have to really pour my energy into this. I like it because it's like my dream job or my secondary dream job. So I need to ensure that I look for all the resources that are available to me. And luckily it is, people on LinkedIn that are posting things about their raw experiences, but this business container that you're running with other people who are really collaborative. And I think the number one advice that really stuck out to me when I first started out, because a lot of RCICs practice solo. And so we end up working in isolation a lot of the times. And so just learning from others that you can find people who are collaborative, who are willing to mentor you, who are willing to have a coffee chat with you and tell you, some advice, over like 15 minutes to see if they can offer you some tangible techniques or practical things you can do right now to get yourself out there, whatever your goal is at that time. And my goal was visibility. And that's when I talked to you about it. I talked to some other people in the container program and asked them, where were you in your first 30 days? Am I in the right? I don't know if I'm on the right track. What is the right track? And because, there's ebbs and flows in businesses, as we all know, and just hearing other people's experiences, even though right now they're so established and that they started at ground zero, just like me, really helped me, one, set the right expectations for myself, but also just light that fire under me to keep going, just to keep going and keep marketing myself, even when it feels like I'm talking to maybe 5 people on TikTok.
So that
And
was my next question. So
yes,
visibility wise, and by the way, everybody who's listening, that should be your first priority in your business. Because I actually distinctly remember that when we sat down for our big meeting, before we started working together, I asked you like, okay, like, what do you think you need right now? Like, what do you think you need to prioritize? And you were like, well, I just want to make sure that I'm like super organized in terms of processes and that everything like works really, really well. So, I'm like from day one, I'm setting on the right foot in terms of my processes. And I'm like, Trami, like, you don't need any processes. You don't have any clients. You don't need processes. You need clients. And that's why we talked about visibility, and that for everybody who is starting, that should be the number one goal, to really start getting out there. So your choice of platform was TikTok, which is great because let's face it, it is the fastest growing type of content that you can possibly produce. It's just because that's the way the platform is designed. So that was your choice. And tell me, so my next question is, did you have like just fears or overwhelm, I guess, getting out online? Because I don't think you were really necessarily online before that.
absolutely. And absolutely not. I was not really online. Even personally, I rarely ever post on my Instagram. It's just pictures of my kids, and I post that to my family and friends. And even then, it's very minimal. And so I was like, TikTok, that is the furthest thing from what I'm used to, what I'm comfortable with. But I remember because I am like a silent scroller. I've had TikTok for a while now, but I just follow people that I look up to. And one of those people is in your container program. I had no idea. She is so amazing. And if I could just shout out to her, Barbara. And I have been following her. I think she was great. And I follow a lot of immigration practitioners on my TikTok. But before that, I didn't post anything on my own personal page. So I was super nervous and super scared to have that online presence. And I remember telling you, you know what, Elena, again, my stubbornness, I'm just going to do it. I'm scared, but I'm just going to do it scared. And whatever happens, again, happens, but I need to get myself out there. I don't have a storefront. I don't have an office in a busy street. I don't have, foot traffic. What am I going to do to make sure that people see me and feel that they can trust me with their immigration journey? And you know what also helped though for me personally is I try to just visualize it as if I was speaking to somebody that I already knew. So I pretended that I was talking to my students because, and I tried to make sure that I speak in a way that is obviously clear, but also in a way that shows that I care, because that's how I approach my teaching at the college. And then that's been my focus. It's just my style, I suppose, whatever that is. But is so far that's been something that's helped me overcome that barrier and that fear in the last 30 plus days.
That's a really good technique. So I always say that you should be envisioning literally like a person that you're talking to, because if you're thinking about like either just talking to the camera or to emptiness, the thing is that other person like on another side, when they're watching, they can really feel it, right? So when you're envisioning that you're talking to a human being, you can really feel that on another side. And now when you said it, and I didn't know that, but now it really makes sense, because when I'm watching your videos, I can really see like you're speaking to your students. Yes, I can really feel it. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I think a few of my, and shout out to my students, five of my students from my cohort were my first followers. So it helped having that, some familiar people, even some of my friends were following me first, and that just helps. And I didn't know that was a technique that you shared with people, but it absolutely, absolutely is effective.
That's great. Okay, so it's been now 36 days. So tell me, have you posted on TikTok every day, or what has been your schedule, and has it been hard for you to keep up with it?
Yes. Okay, so our first 30 days, my goal to myself was to complete that 30-day challenge. Alana gave me the challenge to post a video every single day on TikTok and just do it. Just and then after that, figure out what schedule works. And I will say, with the exception of a few days, because we did get a stomach bug in the family, I missed about 3 to 4 days, but was able to do a video every single day aside from that. And um, believe it or not, I ended up enjoying it way more than I had anticipated. And it was much more doable in terms of my schedules that are just all over the place sometimes. And that is, for me personally, the way I scheduled it for myself was before I go get the kids from daycare, after I've done all the work that I had to do during the day, I'm going to film at least one video and edit that same video on the TikTok platform. I don't transfer it or export it to anything else. Just have it on that app and just upload it. And it was way more doable than I thought, because I had never edited or filmed a video before that. So yeah, in the last 30 plus days, it's become part of my routine. I enjoy it. I don't actually plan out my content. Sometimes I wake up and I'm just like, oh, you know what? I probably should focus on this, or I get inspired by something, or I go on LinkedIn and I see somebody has shared something that I think should really be known by the general public or people who are following me. And I think it's valuable to share. So yeah, it's been a really, really fun journey so far. And my plan is to really try to post every day if I can. I may miss 1 or 2 days, but it's something that I think is going to be lasting as part of just my role as an RCIC and an entrepreneur.
Yeah, no, I love that. And the fact that you shared like your kind of schedule, like how you think about it, is that, okay, I finish all the work, and then before I pick up kids from daycare, that's like the last thing kind of what I do. I make sure I publish a video. And it's very useful to me, because I hear a lot of times from RCICs is that like, we don't have time to do this. We don't have time to do this, right? But in reality, it doesn't take too much time. You just need to fit it in your routine, first of all, like mentally, right? Wherever it fits. So for me, it's actually opposite. I know that I need to get it done in the morning. So I need to get my marketing piece done in the morning. So every morning I do about like 30 minutes to 1 hour of marketing for immigration. And for that, like, I know it's done in the morning. I like schedule the content throughout the day, and then the whole day I know I can do whatever I want. I can work, I can, but that makes sense in terms of my routine. So yeah, that is a really great to approach it. Like, where can you like input that like 30 minutes or 1 hour in your day, but on daily basis?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you set that expectation for yourself and you squeeze it in. And yeah, over
Yeah.
the last few days, I found that it takes way less time than I thought it would. At first, it took like an hour from start to finish, and now it can take anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. And then I'm out the door and just forget about it, like you said.
Yeah, that's great. Well, 20 to 30 minutes, that's literally, perfect timing, I think, for TikTok. And think about it, it's only 20 to 30 minutes per day that you're spending, but your business like literally lives on that, right? Because 20 to 30 minutes per day, that would be, well, let's say 30, that would be what, 2.5 hours per week. Two and
Mhm.
a half hours per week of marketing work. Like,
Mhm.
that is an easy commitment, I
Yeah,
think.
I agree.
Yeah, that
Yes.
that is good. So let's talk about so far. What results have you seen? Well, let's take it step by step. When you posted your first video, what were
Yes.
your expectations?
Oh my goodness. My first expectations, because like I said, I have no idea about analytics, what viewership, what I should be focusing on. So my first video was about PGWP, and I intentionally set it for PGWP because it was April. A lot of students are heading out to graduation. I figured here are three really good tips. And I posted it and I was like, you know what? If I could get even 200 views, I'd be so happy. And then I was watching it get to 200 views and 300, 400, and 6 hours later, it got to like 10,000 views. And I remember talking to you, Elena, and I said, I just want to make sure that I set the expectations for myself, that I don't get too excited that, this is all my videos are going to get this many views. And I remember you saying, you know what? The first few videos on TikTok, they are most likely going to get a lot of views. They're trying to push your content to the right people. And I said, okay, thank you for that knowledge. Again, I knew nothing about marketing, let alone marketing on TikTok. So that was really helpful advice. And then that again helped me with producing content daily, not setting an expectation on views to match it with that first video, because now I know it's just the algorithm. So that it far exceeded my expectations, back to your question, in terms of viewership and comments.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, it does happen that way for a lot of people that like first couple of videos on TikTok. It's just TikTok tries to encourage the creators, right? So they try to push your videos out. So you're encouraged to produce more content. So it's common that it like starts from here and then you see a big dip. And then as you like figuring things out, as you're testing things out, then you naturally figure out like what actually works and what can possibly get views. So now 36 days in, do you know how many followers you have or how many total views you got?
I don't know my total views. Again, I need to go in and dive into the analytics of things, but I just hit over 1,000 followers on Monday, I believe. So that was, I would say, a month in, basically. I hit 1,000 followers. Again, not an expectation I put on myself, because once again, we're focusing on building this brand and this visibility, and a video a day is enough for me right now. But that hitting that mark was really exciting for me. And I think too, in terms of views, I'm not sure what the total views, but I do have two videos that got over 100,000 views. Another one that was 60,000. And what made it more, I guess, meaningful to me, aside from the numbers alone, was just that the people who are commenting and engaging with the content are genuinely people who I want to engage with. So, and they would
That's
engage with
so
each other.
nice.
So it's like a little community, which if anyone is starting out with TikTok, it's once you start seeing those people follow you and they start asking you questions, you respond to them, they stick around and you almost build this little like family of people who every time you film a new video, you remember those people. You're probably going to see this. So it helps envisioning that human being, like you were saying, with every subsequent video. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great because about envisioning the human being, it's a great tactic that you were envisioning a student, but like now that you do have those like people and you have some consultations, it's great to envision your like this ideal person, right? Like maybe you have a client that you work with that you're like, oh my gosh, I want more of clients like this. So every time when you're shooting a video and you're pretending like you're talking to this specific person, it really helps on many different levels, on like literally like mental level, but also like articulation level, to bring more of the same clients and people into your community. So you truly form that community of, of people that you want to work with, that you want to help. right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's great. And we haven't talked about it actually because it's great that you're seeing those people that, you're happy to see there, and you having that sense of community, because actually that is a problem on TikTok for a lot of creators who start. So what I see a lot is that creators who start shooting videos on TikTok, because TikTok pushes out content for the first while, like in a really random way, like it doesn't like really calibrate to like who is really good, kind of client for you, right? And people tend to see that audience on TikTok can be a little bit like rough, right? And not exactly like, for example, for immigration consultants, I often hear is like, oh well, but on TikTok is only people who are outside of Canada, and and I want to work only who's inside Canada. But that's actually not true. It's just sometimes it happens that during the first month or two, you're not exactly in your niche in terms of content. So you don't have that community. It's just you need to work kind of on your content side of things. So it pushes out to the people that you truly want to attract. But it's great that for you, you didn't even have kind of that period of time, because a lot of RCICs just give up when they see wrong audience
I have
and
to
wrong
credit it.
questions that
Yes. And I
audience
have
asking. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to credit that to you, Elena, because I remember when we were having our big meeting and I was just talking about what kind of content, should I be creating. And we talked about sometimes TikTokers who are RCICs will create content for the sake of getting views, for the sake of, creating content. And that led to our conversation about, what is going to be your specializations? What are you going to be focusing on in your business? That will lead you to ideas for what you will post on TikTok. So I knew that I wanted to support students with PGWPs. And so that's why I was posting PGWPs. And then I started to have that in my mind for all of my other videos. And that is where I think I was able to narrow down to the group of people I was hoping to work with and attract those people who are already in Canada. And don't get me wrong, I did get some random people in my comments
Of
too.
course.
That's what you get when you post yourself on the internet. But for the most part, it was really nice to see that we were attracting the right people to the page.
Yeah, no, it's
Mhm.
it's really great, and it's just really, it can be sometimes for me as well, very kind of enticing, or like I want to post something like more clickbaity, right? But then I try to remember that if you want to get views, you will get views. If you want to get right consultations, then you will get right consultations. It depends what you have in mind as a goal, right? If you want a goal of building the community of the people that you want to serve, if you have that in your mind when you're producing content, then you're going to achieve that, right? But if you're just going only into the metrics and like strictly into the views, then yeah, sure, you can post about every single update that our IRCC is posting, and you can grow really fast. The question is that what kind of community or people you're really going to bring into your business, and what business results you're going to get out of it, right? So it's a balancing act between like actually getting views and being visible, but also what are those views and who are those viewers and how they're going to interact with your business.
Yeah,
um,
exactly. And I,
yeah.
I will say too, um, I I do have some videos like that where there are IRCC updates sprinkled throughout my content. And I think that's still pretty valuable to include on a
Yeah.
page. But again, it was so helpful to have your guidance with, but you still should be focusing on, areas that you specialize in so that you can attract the right
It's
clients.
about the mix. You should
Yes.
have the videos that are designed to get views. You
Mm,
should have those videos, but also you should have those videos that are designed to get your ideal clients, ideal people to ask you questions, to activate them, to book, get them to book a consultation if they do need help, right? So it's a mix of both, definitely. And yeah, IRCC updates is definitely useful because it's also also, honestly, people really do appreciate RSC updates. Like for us, we're on Instagram, and a lot of times our clients and clients that have been with us, like corporate clients for a long time, they tell me that, like, look, the only account I follow is you, because I want to make sure that I'm staying just updated with immigration trends, and you post the news. So they want to be in the loop, and they really appreciate it. Yeah.
And they trust you because you post
Yeah.
accurate information. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And I find it also helpful, kind of myth debusting, a little
Yes.
bit also sprinkled throughout the content, because so we do that sometimes, like debusting some myth, or because some, how it is in the immigration space, some topics can get like really hyped up to the point that, like, everybody is just talking about the exact same thing, and it's just getting out of proportion. And then I would, like, if I get a little bit annoyed with that, then I would post on our page saying that, okay, guys, like, everybody just needs to chill out. Like, there is no TR to PR program is
Yes.
coming, or like anything like that.
Yes.
And that develops trust.
Exactly. Exactly. There's so much misinformation out there. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so I have a couple of more questions to you. So, in terms of your first 30 days, can you name, if you can think about it right now, 3 things that made the biggest impact on you, just generally in the first 30 days of your business? 3 biggest impactful things.
The three biggest impactful things. Okay. So if I think about it a little bit, I think the first thing, again, is going back to finding the right mentor and just diving into it with that support and that guidance from someone that is trusted, that you've done your research on, and having that support as you navigate this new journey. As for me personally, I've never been an entrepreneur. I've never marketed myself, and I've never practiced law. So this was something that all those things I did not learn from Queen. So I needed to make sure I had the right resources and can access those resources. That was number one for me. That made all of the difference versus me doing this on my own. Number two is having the right mental, I guess, approach to it and being held accountable. So for me, I knew that on the days where, my kids are sick, or honestly, there were some days where I'm like, I'm so tired. I really don't want to go back downstairs after I put these kids to bed and film that video. But I was like, I set myself up for this challenge. I'm going to meet it. And if not, I'm going to make up for those missed days. So I'm going to go downstairs and film this video at midnight and just post it and it's going to be something that I won't feel sorry about later. And so I would do that. So that push and that drive needs to be, I set that intention from day one, but also giving myself that grace whenever I need it. Like those days where I was just so sick, the video is not going to be quality no matter how
Yep.
hard I will try. So just having the right mental approach to it, and again, crediting to you and the community that I have for that, and also my therapist. So just having a mix of
Oh,
people and
yes.
right,
A therapist is the best
100
person in life. Yes.
right, 100%. Having my therapist and a wonderful personal support system, I think I'll always
Yeah.
vouch for. Mental health support and having people surrounding you who will uplift you. And then the third thing again, I think is just recognizing that it's not going to be perfect. Like I just had to set that expectation for myself. It's okay, I have all of these supports in place. I have resources, I have inspirational people around me. I have all of these things in place and things can still go wrong. Like, and as long as I have that, but I knew that I, gave it 100%, and 100% looks different on different days. So
Yeah.
as long as I knew going into that again, there's going to be ebbs and flows, every day is going to look a little different. But I will try to organize myself and set those goals anyways. Um, Having those expectations set the right way, really helps too. So I wasn't like, aiming for the moon and hoping that I will land on the moon. I'm going to still aim, but, I may miss the first few times. So that's where I think that just that approach to it really helped me. Because I think some videos only reached maybe 400 views. And But just having that mindset and again, bouncing that off of you, being like, it's normal. You're going to, even if you were around for 3, 4, 5+ years, you might have videos that just don't stick with people.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, and just having that mindset really, really has helped me. And I'm going to continue to have that because it's part of having a growth mindset. You just have to continue to grow. And especially working with immigration law and adapting and having to pivot all the time. Yeah, I think those are the 3 things that, if I'm just thinking about it now off the top of my head, were the biggest points for me in going into these first 30 days.
Yeah, that's great. I love that you said about some videos um reaching only like 400 views. I had on Wednesday we had a baseball game with my son, so we had to leave, and it's always at dinner time, and I didn't cook dinner, and I tried to like put something together, but I ended up leaving rice long in water. And then so we come home, long story short, we come home, the dinner is cooked, but the rice is like mush and it's like horrible. My husband is eating the dinner and I'm like, how is it? And I didn't try it. And how is it? And he's like, well, the rice is weird because it's like turned into mush.
Of course.
And yeah. And I'm like, okay, you know what? We because we do like to cook, we have like amazing dinners like almost on daily basis.
Love that.
And I'm like, you know what? Not every dinner is going to be perfect,
Oh
okay?
my
Not
gosh.
every dinner has to be perfect. And I said, like, we have to have bad dinners to appreciate good dinners, okay?
Absolutely. Exactly. I can 100% relate to that. 100%.
So yeah, definitely. In order to have 100,000 views videos or videos that they give you lots of consultations, you need to have those videos that are 400 views. Like not everything has to be perfect, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
it's just part of it. Um, all right. So now that you passed your 30 days,
Yeah.
can you tell me what would be your, I guess, goals for the next 3 to 6 months?
Hmm.
So now you have kind of a gist of how things are going, how your, marketing is looking like. You kind of tapped into that visibility, right? What is your goal or plans for 3 to 6 months?
My main goal is to start seeing those DMs and emails inquiring about consultations and my services convert to consultations on a consistent basis. And our goal, so the one that Ellen and I have set for me, is to eventually reach a point where we can get 6 consultations per week, where I can start seeing the revenue come in and start to just have more consistency. And and right now that the goal is still there. It's to convert those numbers, those views from
Yeah.
visibility and marketing into a consistent business. So from consultations, from service agreements, and so on. So 3 to 6 months seems like it's such a short time, but I know that you gave me really good advice, and that is what your business looks like right now is is the result of marketing you did in the last 60 days. So I'm here kind of a little over that halfway point, and I have it in my mind always. And that's why it continues to motivate me to continue to market myself and to hopefully see that conversion happen very soon to a consistent schedule.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, it's great. And I think we touched on a lot of good points here because in this episode, we talked about, your 30 days and how successful you've been. And I really truly believe that you've been like super successful with your TikTok efforts. Your videos are great. Your approach to content creation is great. You mentioned that you had 2 videos over 100,000, but I want the viewers and particularly like new consultants to know is that doesn't necessarily means that Trami is getting bombed with consultations from TikTok, right?
No, not at all. And you would think, because I
You
think
would
now
think.
I've lost count. Exactly. I've lost count of the number of DMs that I'm getting that are real, genuine inquiries about my services and where to book. I have my booking page linked there. And even my email inbox, I'm starting to see emails from people I don't recognize. So they're coming from TikTok because that's the only place I've been marketing my business. And they haven't said they've been referred by any, family, friends, or anybody. So even with a response to, that is crafted to their inquiries on all of these platforms and my emails, sorry, on TikTok and emails, there's just crickets. So
Exactly.
that's where we have to go in again and adapt and pivot and see, okay, what can I do to improve, my marketing? Yes, there were some videos that did really, really well and getting more followers, but let's talk about how we can improve this. And that goes back to, again, what you're saying about you need to always think about growing and just how can we improve, and having that growth mindset is, I think, the most powerful thing to get you out of, wanting to give up at this stage, any stage actually. So
Yes, exactly. And just, I think one of the things that Barbara, I think, said it is that the great approach is just every time I make a video or any piece of marketing, just think about how I can just make it better, like 1%. Just one, maybe one thing to tweak, or one thing that I can make better or change or try something new, right? Because that ultimately, if you think about it, every single video that ultimately leads to growth.
yes.
Yes, but also, like, going back to the kind of views versus consultations, is that I want, especially those RCICs who are just starting out or just got the license, I want them to know is that it is hard. It's not like you go on TikTok, you get all these viral videos, and you're swamped, and business is just coming your way. It doesn't really work like that, and it's really different things to get visibility, which is super important, and get conversion. So if you don't have visibility, you're not going to have a conversion, because, like, literally not enough people in the world know about you, right? Like, maybe some family, friends, whatever, referrals. But especially right now with immigration policies, when less and less and less people become qualified for permanent residence in Canada, you need to make sure that you have exposure to visibility, right? Like, to the public, so that people know you. So conversion is not possible without visibility. But at the same time, if you have visibility, it doesn't always mean that you will have conversion, meaning that people book consultations, right? So it's like two parts that need to be addressed, and that's part of my framework, that it's like visibility, conversion, and then delivery, right? So these are three parts of, like, most important parts of our businesses. And for you, Trami, like, I think it's like it's just a very natural way that things are progressing, that, okay, you kind of ticked off on the first part, and now you know how to become visible, how it works, you're now more or less comfortable with it. So now, okay, let's move on to our second step, which is conversion. But it's still, of course, a journey. It's not like, I just want everybody to know that it's like 30 days. They have been absolutely amazing for you. And I think you said that it was like the longest 30 days ever.
It felt like the longest 30 days ever. But at the same time, I felt like I blinked and, oh my goodness, my business is open, because May 1st, I was like, I remember the night before May 1st, I was like, oh my gosh, tomorrow's the day. It's like, and I don't have a storefront, but it felt really big because that's when I was going to show TikTok, I was gonna say the world, but like, I'm open for business now. I remember on Barbara was sharing with you, like, you think because you're part of a greater community and you start handing out your business cards, which I did too, that there'd be like a line out the door waiting for you to represent people. But even with that, even being already part of communities and, handing out, your cards and things like that, it's not necessarily the case, at least for me anyways. And, again, it was just nice to hear from Barbara as well, who's now so established, so successful, that in the first few months it was quite similar.
Yeah.
And having those tiered, those three stages really helps to visualize it and keep you on the right track.
Yeah, exactly. But also it helps, like, diagnose kind of where the problem in your business is, right? Because sometimes what I see RCACs would do is that, okay, I don't have consultations. So they would just, like, go and post more, which is more of like a visibility problem. And I'm like, maybe you don't have a consultation because, not because people don't see you, but because of other reasons, right? Maybe your content doesn't activate them. Maybe your pricing is something that discouraging them. Maybe there can be 20 different reasons, right? But, like, visualizing those as kind of like departments of your business, like visibility, conversion, and delivery, really helps you to understand, okay, like, which problem am I really trying to solve right now? Is it problem that I don't have enough people, like, seeing me or seeing my business, or is it problem that is not enough people booking, or is it problem that, okay, people are, seeing me, they're booking, but then they're not signing retainer agreements, right? So it just helps to even diagnose what's happening in your business when you visualize it this way. All right. So last question to you, Trami. Now, what would you say to someone who's exactly where you were 30 days ago? Well, 36.
Yes. So, what would I say to them, especially if they're starting out just like me and they're about to begin? I think, again, just make sure you surround yourself with the right people as you start this journey. It's not a small feat at all. It is such a big deal. And I think one, obviously give yourself credit for taking this risk and taking this leap. And so having that good support system around you to help you with that and keep you level headed, keep you grounded. And again, mental health is great. And finding the right mentors that you trust is so important. And also just give yourself grace. There's more people that have been doing this for longer. There are great people out there. And I feel like, yes, we can view them as competition. It is a business. It is, at the end of the day, you're still running a business. But I think it's important to know that there's always going to be a spot for you. There's space for you as well. And there's no one other than you that's you. So I think when you think about it that way, that, okay, yes, there's lots of RCICs out there, but they haven't seen you yet. That's what makes you set yourself apart. And so we only know that about you if you get yourself out there and you get on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, whatever it is, and we can learn about you. So I think when you think about what you have to offer and remind yourself of that, because again, the imposter syndrome, I think, is so prevalent at that stage.
Yes.
It really gives you that little confidence boost to just do it. And just do it scared. Like I said, just do it scared. If you're scared, just do it. And just know that most people that are in those positions that you aspire to be have been in our place, at one point or another. So that would be
Yes.
my little piece of advice. Yeah.
That's great advice, and thank you so much. And it's so valuable to hear from somebody who is like literally 30 plus days in and like right now experiencing this. So before recording this podcast, I had an amazing idea coming to my head. So what we're going to do, Trami, we're going to set an event in our calendars 1 year from now, and we're going to record the episode exactly 1 year from now.
Oh
And
my
we're going to
goodness.
see how things are going to go.
I
And I think that would be amazing, just kind of reflection on like the first year of your business, and something to motivate both of us.
Yes. Oh, I will definitely take you up on that offer. It will, again, keep me accountable. And yeah, we'll see what happens from now until next June 6th. I love it. I love it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for joining me today. And for our viewers, thank you for watching us. If you want to watch more episodes, I know we talked a lot about TikTok today and Barbara's episode. So Barbara's episode is also on the channel. You can watch that one as well. And thank you, everyone. And I'll see you next time.
Thank you.